Hi everyone, it's Ira here, and good evening or good afternoon, good morning, depending on where you are. I'm still in Asia, so the time for me is about 8 o'clock in the evening. Let me know when you guys are coming online. Just let me know where you're calling in from, and please don't hesitate to type in comments and questions in the comment box. So the topic today that I want to cover is what exactly is career coaching and how that's different to other types of coaching, and also how that's different to, say, therapy. And the reason why I was thinking of addressing this is because we often get requests from people, asking, can we help with this? Can we help with that? And, the short answer is always, yes, absolutely, we can help you with, in principle, we will always try to help you. And if we don't have the expertise, if we're not strong in a certain area, we will be sure to refer you. We have a pretty nice network of other professionals that we can refer you to. So please do feel free to contact us with any kind of help that you might need. But that said, I just want to make it clear that, in terms of what it is that we are good at and that we do, and so that is very much career coaching and job search. So career coaching it's a whole gamut of things, and the way I like to describe it is there are upstream activities and midstream activities and downstream activities, right? So upstream activities has to do a lot with career clarification. It has to do with career switching. It's about identifying skill sets and strengths and trying to figure out which career paths fit you best. You might be trying to decide. A lot of times with MBAs, it's about consulting or finance, or it's about within finance. Should people, go into financial services or corporate finance, as in an internal role in finance? Sometimes the question is, should they go to buy side or sell side? And all those different formulations of all the ways that finance careers breaks down, right? So, but of course, a perennial favorite is banking versus consulting. So there's that. Then there's also people who are switching careers, and a lot of times that's exactly why they go to business school or any other graduate degree, and so they're trying to figure out what is a feasible career switch, right? So here the discussion is very much about transferable skills and how many factors you are trying to change in your switch. So the more factors there are, the bigger the challenge, right? So if it is a single switch, then it's easier than what we call a double switch, and then what we call a triple switch. So very quick, we cover all of this in our video library in actual proper videos, but just to quickly touch on that, a single switch is where you're just only changing one thing, right? So you might be changing your functional role while staying in the same industry, okay? So you might have worked in, the airline industry your whole life, and you've been in a very specific function, such as finance, and you want to switch over into something more like a corporate strategy role or an operations role or something like that, because you're sick of finance, or you feel like, sure, finance is, you can do it, but, there are other natural areas of talent that you're not leveraging, right? So that's a fairly easy switch to make, because you know your industry very well, and you already know that, you have this skill set that you're not using, right? So that's okay. And then it could also just be that you're switching industry. So in other words, you are in finance and you want to continue in finance, but you're sick of the airline industry, and you would like to go work in, say, the food and beverage industry, right? So you want to leave United Airlines and go work for Coca-Cola, but into the role, it's finance, internal finance, corporate finance. And so that also is very easy, because you know your job, you've been trained in that job, and it's just a question of, in an interview, all you really have to convincingly speak about is why the interest in a new industry. And that's easy, usually because you've done one industry, you have experience, and now it's time to switch around a little bit and bring your skill set to another area of work and help out another team to advance its goals. So again, remember always, you're always helping them advance their goals. So those are single switches. Double switches is where you're literally switching both things, right? So, and you very often get this with grad school and business school. That's why people spend $130,000 to go and do these programs, is because they want to make a significant switch, right? So they want to actually work, the industry they want to work in and the functional role they want to work in is different to what they've been doing before. And so that's how it goes, right? So as you change more factors, the more complex and complicated and challenging it becomes. I'm a big fan of anything is possible, and and that's, of course I'm going to say that because that's been my personal experience. I have switched careers, dramatic, wild swings in careers from being. I did legal work, international development work. I've worked on Wall Street. I've worked at the World Bank. I mean, these are pretty wild changes, and I convincingly managed to get those jobs. Whether I did them well is a different story, and we won't get into that now, but I think that if you can make a case for having underlying skills, right? So really what's important here is underlying skills. What are the underlying skills you have that translate over? And no matter how tiny those are, it's about, it's that thing of taking that little thing and really building it up and saying, look, I can do this job because of these other things I've done before, right? So some people can do that very, very well and make big changes. Others are a little bit more conservative in what they're willing to say. So that all depends. But certainly all of those are things that we can help you with. And then you move into midstream, which is where you kind of start making your lists of companies that you want to apply to, where do you want to work, which cities, what locations, and then eventually downstream is the actual job application process. So that's your resumes and cover letters and LinkedIn profiles and especially interview prep. So I would say, careerly, our strength really is in that downstream, right? Because we are industry focused, which means our career coaching, unlike any other career coaching out there, is not generalist career coaching. Not that we have 31 coaches, and certainly there are people who can help you with just about anything, any career-related conversation, but really where our strength lies is in, as you get really down to where the rubber hits the road and you're applying to investment banking and you need people who have worked in investment banking or who are currently working in investment banking to help you prepare for your interviews. Or you want to go into a startup in healthcare startup, healthcare tech, and you need to navigate that process. So we're very, very good when it comes to the granular technical piece of once you've identified where exactly you are applying to. In fact, it may just so turn out that we have coaches in the very places you're applying to or have worked there before. Okay. So that's what I wanted to touch on today, just to make sure that you understand what career coaching is, and please differentiate that from therapy. And the reason why I mentioned this is because not that, again, we're not ever hesitant to help anybody, but there are some things that it's really not our training. We're not licensed therapists or medical professionals, and if you find that your issues are, and very often this is the case, people think it's their job, they think it's their boss, they think it's their role, they think it's all kinds of things, but really it runs deeper than that. There's a general kind of malaise, some kind of career, and a feeling of just not really being able to find your feet. And typically, people, if anytime I've had a client who is struggling with that, they also feel the same way about other aspects of their lives. And before we got into the student piece and the job search piece, I personally did a lot of that kind of coaching 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and I can spot it right away. So I just want to say that that's really not, I mean, careerly as it is today is not really, that's not really what we do. And there are people who are better qualified. So not that I can always help you. I'm always happy to have a conversation with anybody about these issues, life issues. And, a lot of times it's, bigger things like, do I work in, this location or that location, or do I take time off, or do I, it's also usually tied in with family and kids, and especially for women, a lot of it is about how to balance these things, and the puzzle is just way more complicated than your typical job search piece. And so I just kind of want to say that just make sure that you're going to the right people. We might just not be able to in a professional therapeutic way deal with what it is that you need help with. And one of the best ways of seeing what that difference is that I always say therapy is very much therapy, and you'll realize this if you've already been to a therapist or if you ever go to one. Therapy really is about, it's your process, right? And they will tell you that. In other words, they're there to facilitate. They're there to listen to you and help guide you. But, the idea is that you come to your own conclusions, right? They'll always say that it's your process. You have to own that process. And you kind of through, many weeks, well, sometimes it's short, but usually it's long. And you come to your own answers because you're looking at all kinds of trends and themes throughout your life, right? So throughout your career, throughout your, relationship history, all of that. And, there's this kind of processing that's going on there that is not the case typically with career stuff, right? So, and I this is up to you, but personally I don't really, career coaches out there who are, who might be trying to do that kind of work, you might just want to just check, make sure about their credentials, because they may not be any smarter than you are about living life, right? Life is life. Life has, life's a challenge for everybody. And it's not like, another person who's not qualified in that area may not be able to help you. So just be aware of that. And the big difference with career coaching, and so you should always check this if you're going to work with the career coaches, they should not be saying to you that it's your process. It's not your, that's the whole point, right? It's not, we are there to make it our business to share that process with you, right? So there's no way that I would ever say to one of my students and my clients that it's your process. It's my process. I am going to get involved. I am going to guide you. We're going to do things together. It's prescriptive. This is how, we will give you a lot of guidance, help you. Very often we craft these things with you. I literally write LinkedIn profiles with my clients. And so, there's a very, very clear demarcation as when I see these things. It's not like I'm there to just listen and let you come to answers on your own, because that's not my job. I'm not trained to do that. I will work with you. I will get involved and make sure that we go from here to here, that there are clear results and you walk away with a certain number of things done. So if we're doing interview prep, if I don't feel like you're ready, I will say, you have to you got